Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you both doing?
Well, I was having a good morning this morning. Like, I got up early enough to get to my metro. I was like, successful day. And then, before, like 5 minutes before 9 a.m., when I sat down, I was just relaxing before work started. And someone, we literally don't know who it was.
Two
people were in the building, don't know how they got in, and to try and let themselves out, instead of hitting the press to exit button, hit the fire alarm.
Oh, is that what they did?
Yeah, and then just left.
That explains it. I knew there were two people in the building, and I was like, but what? That was like, that's all the information I had.
We
two
don't know
people
who
in the
they
building
were.
did it, and I was like, what? They just came in and set our fire alarm off and left, but they were trying to get out the door and pressed the wrong button.
But they were, so then the fire alarm, which wasn't like a normal alarm, it was just a ee for like half an hour. So me and Peter ran away to the Cultaholic office to do our podcast.
It's like, I've got notes to make. I'm doing it in a quiet room rather than sitting here.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. But Ben braved it out for some reason.
Well, I feel like crap today, so I thought I just can't be asked to move. I'll just sit here and bear the brunt of the noise.
You've also got relatively new
Noise
headphones.
cancelling.
Yeah, they were actually pretty good. I didn't have the noise cancelling on. I could still very much hear the noise, but no, I just couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered to move. So how do we segue on to this week's sponsor? How about
Just like that.
this
How about
way?
I just read it?
Yeah.
Each week we're sponsored by a very real video game adjacent sponsor. It helps us keep that light on a little bit.
Not that
Where's
one.
Dead Island 2 the Spider this week?
Still up there.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Dead Island 2 the Spider
Not
is
moving.
still here and fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter's going to tell you about that company/product right now.
Yeah, did you know that we are sponsored by a video game this week, an actual upcoming
An
game?
actual video game.
It's very exciting. Only problem is it's recently been leaked online,
nightmare.
and so people have seen all of this like footage and stuff of it's like a dog simulator game, right?
Okay.
Right.
You remember like A Dog's Life
I do.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we played, and
Like Stay.
yeah, it is like Stay.
That's good. That's
Another
really
dog
good.
simulator game. But you, for the most part, you're just sort of doing retrieval quests. You know, someone will throw something and you bring it back.
Yes.
Someone will throw something and you bring it back.
And you could
Yeah.
call that a... I assumed that you were setting yourself up for a pun there.
Well, I was, but I don't. It wouldn't lead off
He's
the
not ready
phrase.
yet, he's
You
not
would
ready.
He's
call
not
that
ready yet.
a-
Sorry, okay.
Well, I was just going to say the video game in question is called GTA Sticks.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I thought you were going to say fetch quests.
Right.
Oh no,
Okay.
I'd got GTA sticks out of what we were
Really?
going.
Okay,
As soon as you
GTA
said dogs,
sticks.
I was like,
Okay.
yeah, GTA sticks.
Yeah, I might have said fetch quest, but yeah, I thought you wanted the name of the product at the end of that sentence.
No. I thought
Yeah.
you would lots of retrieval quests. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, fetch quests.
Fetch quests.
That's what they
yeah.
are, sure.
GTA Sticks
GTA
coming soon.
Sticks.
Brilliant.
It's just you as a dog, just bringing
in the big
sticks back
city.
Just doing stick stuff.
for like 80 hours.
Cool.
Love that.
Is there a poo command?
No,
No.
Is there a
what?
put poo in mouth command?
you can't do any of that. It's just you in a really big park.
Yeah.
For the park
with
of heaven,
sticks.
just forever.
Yeah.
A forever park.
Amazing. That sounds incredible.
Does sound good.
When's it out?
Well, it's actually not out at all. And
Is it 'cause of the
ever
leak?
in the future? Partly because of the leak, but also because it's not real.
Oh, come on now.
Dang it.
That's rubbish.
How do you leak something that's not real?
I hate that.
That never happens.
Well, GTA Sticks is not our sponsor this week, but our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com are our real sponsors this week, where for as little as $1 per month, you could submit questions to this podcast. We've got lots of other tiers available, including becoming a podcast producer. You okay?
I just like punched myself in the jaw. I was like doing this and just swung my fist up and just punched myself.
You're a danger.
I didn't see the
to
punch, but I
everyone
just looked
around
over and you were going,
I was like, what happened?
just thumped herself,
Ow.
including early worst games ever and early weirdest games ever and all sorts of other stuff as well. Go check it out, patreon.com/team triple jump.
Yeah.
just like Curious Gregorius did.
Yes.
Great name.
Hello, girls and boys. Is there a game that you feel is more than the sum of its parts? For me, it's Front Mission 3. The game is just combat loosely linked together with a weird story. The music isn't great. Sorry, I thought you two were both looking at me strangely then in my periphery. I thought you were both going,
No.
Like I got the wrong question
No.
somehow.
Sorry, no.
The story is okay. Outside of combat, it's just static pictures of empty rooms with speech text popping up. Conventionally, the game should be mediocre at best, but somehow, altogether, is really great. Are there any games like that for you guys? Okay, bye.
Thanks, Curious Gregorius.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Curious.
Curious.
Peter, any games?
I quite like Soul Calibur 2 and its adventure mode. So as a fighting game, it's a fighting game, which is fine. And if you like fighting games, then great. If you don't, you won't like it.
Go
but
flip yourself.
Yeah, go flip yourself. Did you actually just say the F
No,
word?
he
there?
said
No,
flip.
I said flip.
I also
promise.
thought he said the F word for
No.
a second there.
No, I was.
He would
I'm
never.
behaving
He would
myself.
never swear.
Behaving myself.
But Soul Calibur 2, as well as having the typical modes that you would expect, arcade mode where you just maybe have like 8 rounds and then you might unlock a character ending or something. Soul Calibur 2 has, I think it's called adventure mode or something like that. And that is, as Curious Gregorius says about Front Mission 3, it's just fights in a fighting game loosely linked together with bits of story. But I just kind of really like it, like very much more than the sum of its parts in that kind of a way. It's not even that cleverly done. Like, it's limited to the number of characters in the character roster who are just representing different sorts of people that you're encountering. So you're adventuring across a map and like you move and there's like branching paths and stuff. And then you'll reach a place and it'll say, oh, you're about to enter this temple and there are 2 guards on the door and they're saying, oh, you can't come in. And you're like, well, I want to. And then you enter this fight and it's just, you have to fight like Mitsurugi and then you have to do it again and he's the other, and it's just 2 of them back to back with different costumes on, but they're just like representing a couple of guards, it's that kind of thing. But I just really I think it's because I know this is a fighting game and normally these are just, here are some fights and then it's the ending. And it's the fact that they have actually gone out of their way to just make something a little bit more unique that is a lot of fun. And it's almost a little bit RPG as well. Like I think you can name your character and choose which fighter you want to be. And as I say, there's some branching paths and stuff. So it's quite good, really, for what it is. The other one I got is I'm a bit of a defender of Simpsons Road Rage. Everyone likes Simpsons Hit and Run. Everyone raves about that game. I really liked Road Rage. It's just Crazy Taxi, but it's also The Simpsons, and the music's all right. And none of those things individually stand out as being like top draw, but I just really like playing it. I think like it's not something that you would put hours and hours and hours into, but whenever I pick it up, I have a really good time. So that counts for me. Ashton?
I have one of a more recent game that I played. Far Cry 6, I think, was a bit bland for the most part. The story wasn't that great. The map, there was like a lot of nothing happening. It looked good, don't get me wrong. The soundtrack was all right. But for the most part, it was just kind of fine. But I really liked playing it. I thought it was good for me. And every time I played it, I was like, this game is just, like I said, like a nothing game, basically. But the more I couldn't put it down. I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. But yet here I am playing it for another 6 hours. So what am I doing myself?
I look back on that game fondly.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's a very good game, generally speaking. But I had fun.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
all the bugs and stuff.
Exactly. Like it was buggy and there was like definite issues with it. But like I did have fun.
The sum of parts definitely includes bugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
100%. You can't just get yeeted into the sky for no reason and not find that fun.
Yeah, get
Like,
trapped under a riverbed and drown because you can't get out.
stuck inside a
Horrific.
building that you've rammed yourself into and you can't get out of because this building is not an object.
No.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Far Cry 6, but like I say, I think it was like the story was kind of bland. I can't really tell you much about what happened most of the story. The characters in it were interesting and there was like some good voice acting and some good side quests, but overall like it was just kind of fine. But I think playing it all the way through, I did have like a really good time, but like, on paper it was just kind of fine. So I think Far Cry 6 is a bit of some of its parts there.
I've written Life is Strange 2.
Ooh,
Because I think most people would agree that this is the least good Life is Strange season out of the games that they've made. But there was something about it that really stuck with me. I think I spoke about it on the podcast at the time. I didn't like the little brother. I found him really annoying and whiny. A lot of what you're doing is typical Life is Strange fare, which is either making dialogue decisions or walking around an environment and interacting with stuff, which is, par for the course. But there were a number of characters that really, really stuck with me. And I'm not sure why, because I don't think many other people perhaps came away from it with the same experience that I had. But it's just really stuck with me. Life is Strange 2, in particular the chapter where you're living in the woods. I thought it was very good, and then it sort of went a bit downhill from there, and I wasn't really that interested in the finale. But the friends I met along the way in the woods really stuck with me, and so that elevated the entire experience for me. So I would say Life is Strange 2 is the one that I'm going to go with there.
Nice.
Cool. It's time to move on to a segment we've never done before. It's brand new and spanking. It's not how you say it, but you know what I mean.
Spanking.
It's brand new and spanking. And it's, of course, What We Playin.
Oh.
No,
not yet. It's What We Playin time to talk about what games we've been playing. Peter, what games have you been playing?
Well, if it weren't for you, Ben Potter, I probably wouldn't have been able to play anything this week because I am currently... Bless you.
Sorry.
Ashton's allergic to me not being able to play games.
Yes, how
we all
dare
are.
you.
I'm currently staying in an Airbnb. I'm between houses. I think legally,
Been there.
maybe that's not. I don't know exactly how the council feel about that. So perhaps I shouldn't be saying that on
But do you
public
have a
podcast.
phone?
Too late.
That's the
I
question.
do have a phone.
How
How is that
afford,
possible?
How can you afford that?
Yeah, I'm
That's
technically homeless right now, I think. Anyway, there is a very small TV in the living room of the place where we're staying, and it's bolted to the wall upon.
so you can't get the
So
wires.
I couldn't get the wires into the back, an HDMI cable. So although I specifically did not put my PS5 in storage
So you could play it.
so that I could play it, I couldn't do it until yesterday when the Cassian Andor show debuted. There were 3 episodes of it. I was like, flip sake, I want to watch this. I don't want to sit and watch it on my phone in bed. So I just sort of tilted the TV stand. I could see that whoever put it up as well had put super glue on it.
Oh,
you know when
wow.
super glue leaves that, it looks wet, but
Wow.
isn't.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, and so I was like, come on, please. And it didn't eventually it just sort of moved in a normal way. Like I was expecting it to go like, and like snap or something, but I just had to really force it. And then it went, I was like, okay, it's tilted now. That's fine. So I got an HDMI cable in it, but then last night I just watched 3 episodes of Andor because they all dropped at once. So
they dropped 3 episodes.
yeah, they did. Yeah. So I've not played anything since the last podcast, except I went to the House of Pots on, when was it? Friday.
Last Friday.
So the day after the previous podcast. And we played, for our sins, some Trine 4.
4.
Yes.
You guys.
Yeah.
You guys,
What?
if we end up playing Trine 4, it's
Yeah,
going to
we'll
happen
be like, "Oh, yeah,
again.
this is
where
the bit
everyone's
where-"
like, this is the bit where this happens. Oh, we know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's war.
Whoa.
Flip you, Ashton.
Jesus.
Leave you behind. Yeah, I don't know
Pen.
what that. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
Where are we at? 14 minutes and
13. It
was
about 25.
20.
Yeah, sorry
Okay.
about that. So,
I didn't realise you felt so strongly about
I just
Trine,
keep getting
Ashton.
left behind when we play Trine.
moving into a
because you guys
house.
have played it all before.
We
and
don't
then we're
remember
like,
the solutions to puzzles. We
Yeah.
remember here's that idiot snail man or whatever, but we
Yeah.
don't remember.
No, but I keep getting left
Puzzles.
behind. You
Why
guys,
do you feel left out?
because I wasn't there, and you've played all the games before without
FOMO.
me. And
we didn't know you when we played
Yeah, but
the
I
game.
know. But now you know me, and you know we're probably going to have to play Trine 4 at some point because we got this far. We may as well finish it. And now I'm going to be left behind again.
Well, in our defense, Peter and I actually started Trine 4 in 2019, and this was our first opportunity in 3 years to continue our playthrough.
But we restarted.
We did restart, and we didn't remember a damned thing about it.
And all we did manage to play was pretty
Yeah.
much exactly up to the point that
Didn't
we played
unlock
it
any
originally.
new trophies,
We were watching
so-
looking at the trophies, and no new trophies
Did
popped
not get
from
any
chapter to
further.
chapter.
Right.
So there, and you were busy anyway, Ashton.
Yeah,
I was on a train.
yeah.
You were on a train. Where were you on a train?
I was going to Leicester.
And why were you going to Leicester?
So I can move into my house the next day.
And that's very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Would you
Not
rather
in
have been
Leicester.
playing Trine 4?
No, I wouldn't.
You don't
I just
even like
don't want to be
Trine.
left behind.
You hate Trine. It makes you cross.
It makes me cross because I get left behind all the time.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't. Don't you flip this
I
narrative
literally
around. It's
do.
not because you get left behind.
You can
it's
be
'cause
team
you don't
leader.
like it.
When we play Trine 4,
you just don't like it.
It's fine.
you can offer every single solution when we play Trine 4. We
Yeah,
will
go
just
on.
do
I'm gonna
exactly
play.
what
I'm
you
gonna play it
said.
on my own. I'm just gonna
Yeah, you
download
should
the
do.
game.
And you know what? That's
play it on my own
absolutely
time.
fine and normal.
Absolutely
so
Trine.
Enjoy your Trine 4.
Thanks.
Okay, so anyway, we played some Trine 4. It's just more Trine, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm trying to think what differentiates it from the others
I
at
preferred
all.
3.
Yeah.
I like that it was sort of different camera angles and perspectives and stuff.
Yeah.
4 is very much you're back on your side scrolling stuff.
Yeah,
So,
and I feel like they changed the box physics from one game to the next. And I like Trine. It's definitely Trine 1, maybe Trine 2 as well, where you could do different size boxes and you could do. Maybe we'll unlock the planks later, but we couldn't do planks yet.
you don't draw them in this game, do you? You
No.
just press the box button.
And we're that far into the. We've done like 4 or 5 chapters, and you still don't have planks.
Well, in 4, you don't have to draw them or anything.
Nope.
No. So I kind of, in a way, I prefer the first couple of Trines. Maybe the second one is better than the first because they probably improved on a few things. But yeah, don't know. So that's all I managed to play this week, sadly. But I do now have a PlayStation hooked up to the TV. So Stray, here I come. It will eventually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also moved into a house this week, so I've been in a bit of flux, and I haven't really had time to play anything. / I don't have any internet, so I can't play anything on my PC. And I had to download the Uncharted trio with mobile data.
Oh no.
Basically, my boyfriend has this phone that O2 never turned off when he worked there, so it's got 30 gig of data that we don't use it. We just have a SIM card. So I've been propping that up in the window of the house, where it's the only place where it gets decent 4G, connecting the PlayStation to it, and then I spent all night downloading Uncharted, the series. I can't remember what's the name of that trilogy?
Nathan Drake Collection.
Nathan Drake Collection. Thank you.
Like aftershave.
Yes. And after all that, I've only played about 20% of the first game. But I've played for a bit where I crashed my plane, and then I was saving the game to go to bed, and I was like, I've played 20% of this game. I've been playing it for 2 hours. What are you talking about? But apparently it's not very long. So I'm excited to not have to play that one, because
Is that your
apparently it's
first
the
time
worst.
playing Uncharted games?
Yeah.
It
Apparently
gets much
it's
better.
not
It does
as
get
good.
a lot
Yeah,
better,
exactly.
yeah.
So
I wouldn't dwell too
You
much
kill
on
a
the
lot
first
of
one.
people.
I've already killed a lot of
There's an
people.
awful lot
But-
of gunplay in the first one. I
Yeah,
mean, you
Yeah.
continue
kill so
to
many
shoot
people.
people for the rest of it, but the shooting improves in subsequent games,
Yeah.
whereas the first one is a lot of not as good gunplay. So
Just
Yeah.
don't get weirded out when Elena's entire face model and hair seems to change between each game. Which
Cool.
doesn't make a lot of sense. Sometimes her hair's darker, she's just got a different face. It's weird.
Cool.
It's,
I kept forgetting what
it's
her
her.
name was. I kept thinking her name was Hannah. And then they'd be like Elena, and I was like, "Oh, Elena, not
Elena,
Hannah."
sorry.
For some reason, I kept thinking her name was Hannah. But
just wait until you
no.
meet Chloe Fraser in the second one.
can't wait.
She'll be.
I hope she
Your
looks just like the
milf
one
yeah,
in the
your
movies.
milf meter
your
is gonna be going
milfometer will
crazy.
go off
Exciting.
the scale.
So yeah, I've played only some Uncharted. I've got so many games that are on my list to play once I get the internet working. I just need them to send me the box, and then I need to find in the house where I have to plug it in, because apparently I can, but I've yet to find a port for the internet.
Well,
so-
after actually looking hard to find
yeah,
it.
I've been looking, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
no.
can't find it. But they were like, yeah, it's been installed before, so I'd have to come around and sort it out for you. And I'm like,
Well, so they're not. Usually they force a man round, don't
yeah,
they?
But
to
big-
make you be in.
big
fiddle
internet
with
were
stuff.
like, it would cost you £40 to get someone to come and install it, or
Really?
you can just do it yourself. And I was like,
Screw
well, I'm not
that.
paying you £40 big internet. I'll just find it
Big
myself.
internet.
Don't fall
Because
for
when they
their
get there, they're going to
traps.
ask me, hey, where is the, hey, where's the thing? And I'm going to be like, I don't know.
Don't know.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say when they're going to ask me, hey, what have you been looking at? We can see, we checked your history and we're not sure.
None of your business, big internet. So yeah, I've just played some Uncharted this week. Ben, what have you played?
I've played a few things. I finished Little Orpheus, which I talked about last week, and I enjoyed it. My thumb was really sore at the end, though, because all I did was hold right. Yeah, basically. And then I played through, there's, I assume, what was originally DLC or an additional chapter that takes place after the events of the game. And there is a sort of side-scrolling shoot-'em-up section there, which is such an absurd difficulty spike compared to no difficulty whatsoever that I was genuinely getting very frustrated, because I was treating this as sort of like go on, just one more check, because they only take like half an hour, 45 minutes to finish, and there's like 7 or 8 of them, and I'd already done a few, so I thought I'll finish the game and then it's done, and I'm done with the game, and that'll be nice. But that bit, it was like midnight, and I was just, there were no checkpoints in this thing. You had to go right back to the start, and it was bad, actually. It was bad. But on the whole, the game was very enjoyable, and I liked it a lot. I would recommend people seek that out, give that a go. Finished God of War 2. Can't remember if I said that. And started Gears of War.
I've written GOW. God of War.
I've written GOW, and they're the same initials. Gears of War. Finished Gears of War 2. Started Gears of War 3. So just slowly making my way through that. I finished Cyberpunk 2077, which I enjoyed for the most part, but I was unsatisfied with my ending. And I know there are several different endings, but I just felt it didn't really make a lot of sense, and I was sort of forced down a path that I couldn't really relate to, or really made. It didn't really gel, I felt like, with the decisions I'd made.
Yeah.
And a lot of the characters and people I'd met just weren't involved, and it just felt a bit flat and a bit strange. So that's a real shame, but I did really enjoy Cyberpunk and the world, and it does still let itself down with the occasional bug and glitch, but I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I waited until now to play. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah?
I don't think I'm going to play through it again. So that was it. I finished Cyberpunk, and I liked it, but I didn't like the end. And now I have started Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
Finally. I started it up, immediately had a splitting headache last night, and finished the first mission through the data center.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I left it. So
Cool.
It looks very pretty. I didn't understand for a second the difference between having to hold R3 to use your focus as opposed to just pressing R3 and pulsing out. So I was trying to tag stuff, and it was like, no, you need to use R3. I am using R3. But no, I was using it wrong.
It took me a while to get used to it, and then even then, I very rarely held R3 and got the full focus out. I think most of the time I just tapped it because you don't really need to. Yeah.
I also got really, really lost while climbing something, because there was a level I climbed up to of this rickety tower, and then I jumped across to shoot some cable or something, and then I got back across and climbed up a bit further, and I don't know if my brain just sort of soft resetted, but that floor looked identical, including the jump across to the thing. So I was like, I've just been here, and I spent about 10 minutes jumping off ledges and weirdly trying to glitch my way up the side of it. I need to go higher because this is the floor I've just come from. And then I realized actually it is the next floor. It just looks exactly the same. And that really confused me. But I'm looking forward to playing more of that, and I'll let you know how I got on next week.
I really hope you enjoy it.
Me too.
I'm really worried that you're not going to like it, and then I'm going to be sad.
Well, now I have to like it.
Well, it's one of those things, when you tell someone oh, this game's really good,
of course,
and then you come back, you're like, oh, I really hope that they like it. What if it
happens all the time?
Yeah,
I'm like, watch this YouTube video. No, I don't really like this. You feel like an idiot.
Yeah,
but I doubt that I will let you down, because I like the first one. So.
Yeah. Well,
keep you posted.
Okay.
I'll keep you posted. Actually.
Cool. I have a question too.
Next week.
Cool.
How?
This one comes from Dan Scott.
Two first names.
It's going to be good though.
Hello, Bap. You've spoken in the past about time between games announcements and their eventual release being detrimental to the game itself. Recently, however, studios are now announcing multiple games at once, with Ubisoft announcing the next 3 Assassin's Creeds and RGG Studios announcing the next 3 Yakuzas. Or Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon.
Correct about this.
Touched for the very first time.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on studios announcing the game that's after the next game, that's after the next game? Could Could game number one be affected by if people are more hyped for great? Oh my god! Could game number one be affected if people are more hyped for game number 3, for example? Much love to you all. Thanks, Dan.
I think this is a bit silly to do. I think it's short-sighted. I think it like limits you in terms of changes of direction, or it does. I mean, you can still decide, oh, we're not going to do game number 3 as we said it was anymore. Like you can obviously still do that. You're not committed, but I think you then have to go through the rigmarole of saying, you know how we said we're going to do a game where you are whatever the third one is, I can't remember, a pirate. I know they've already done pirates, but we've decided we're not doing pirates now. We're going to do Vikings, whatever. And I just think, why not? Why do this? Why do we need to know about 3 games ahead? Makes no sense. I'm not suggesting that internally this hasn't been going on for a long time. Maybe like pretty much all the huge series that have regular sequels have been planning 2-3 games ahead for ages, and this is just like it's now becoming more popular to actually say it publicly. But I just don't see the benefit of this at all. I see some potential negatives and no real positives, because people can still you're not driving more hype. I don't think people will be like as hyped for 3 games as they will if you just said the next game will be this. Like I don't think you get 3 times the hype or anything, and all you really do is feed into that thing again, as Dan says in the question, of announcing games too early and then people being mad when they don't hear about stuff for a long time. So yeah, I don't see why this has happened or what the benefit is of doing this. I don't know if you guys see any positives to it at all.
I think the only positives are like internal thing. I've talked about this before about how like it's all about stocks, and if they say that for the next 3 years we will be re-releasing 3 big Assassin's Creed games, for example, Ubisoft stocks are probably going to go up. I don't know much about stocks, but I'm pretty sure that would be like a good thing. Probably. So they'd probably be like willing to tell everyone about them, so people might invest in them and they might get some more money. But I feel the same about this as I feel about Disney announcing the next like 4 years of Marvel movies and TV shows and stuff, is that I don't have enough brain space to be aware of what's going to come out in 2026. I even know what I'm doing next weekend. Like I can't fathom that far in ahead. So I would rather that they just announce the one that's coming out. So I'm like, okay, the next Assassin's Creed is Mirage. Brilliant. That's in my brain now, and I know that it's there. But I don't know about the next 2. I've already forgotten them. They've gone. They're not there anymore.
Me too.
I just know that they're making 3, which I assume they were making 3 because they are always making one. So I'm like, if one's come out, there's probably another one on the horizon, because let's face it, we can't wait more than a year for a new Assassin's Creed. So I don't really see the point in it, like you're saying. I just think maybe the only benefit is like business-wise, big business and all that. But I just don't see the benefit to the consumer or like, the hype train to announce 3 games in one sitting. Because I was watching it and I was also confused about which Assassin's Creed was which and what we were doing first, because I was like, wait, we've said Assassin's Creed so many times. Which one's coming first? And which one is this? Oh, this is Mirage. Okay. And then again, the other 2 are gone now. So they'll
you
come
make a good point
soon.
about TV shows like Disney and Marvel, for example, and Star Wars as well do the same thing under the Disney umbrella, where there are shows that were announced ages ago. There's like a Lando show and a Rangers of the New Republic, and they've both seemingly just like disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'm not particularly attached to those, but I know people who are like, I was really looking forward to those, and now they've gone away.
Yeah.
And that's because they plan these things in advance, and maybe they'll still happen, but at the moment they're seemingly not a priority. And so it's another negative, is that like you can have people get really excited for game number 2 or number 3 because of what it is, like the setting or something. And then if they say in a couple of years' time, oh, you know what, we've sort of changed our minds on that one, you just setting yourself up for disappointment.
And you don't know what the market's going to be like in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
like you
what's
can't,
trendy.
as much as like, we can't say that they won't be, there's no guarantee that these games will be popular when they come out. Like there could be something that comes out between now and then that completely like overwrites their say if it's set in like, Pirates, for example, a really good Pirates game comes out next year, and the game that they've got planned for like the year after that is like, oh, well, we've already done that. Now, like, obviously you're not going to change the whole thing because they've already made a pirate game, but you don't know if Pirates are still going to be in, if people are going to care about it anymore. So it's kind of like not only detrimental to us, but like you don't know what you're going to be in 3 years. So
yeah. Although on the other hand, I guess
it's Ubisoft,
big games like that are being developed over 3 years anyway. It's just that we're
exactly.
being told about it.
Yeah.
Ben, do you want?
Yes, I think to an extent it's okay to announce a trilogy, but we don't need to know everything about each game in that trilogy. It's almost easy. Well, the correct way to do it, as far as I'm concerned, is to say it's a brand new Gears of War trilogy that we're going to be working on. The first one will have news for you soon, and that way people know that there are going to be 3 games in this arc. But they don't, you shouldn't detail every single one of them for the reasons that you both said. The fact that these games might be cancelled or changed, or interest might be lost in the series, and it might just fizzle out and we won't get any. To an extent, though, I would rather know. I think it's a little bit different in this instance when compared to sort of a standalone game. For example, I don't want to know about the next Halo game 5 years before it comes out. I would rather, because we were always going to get more we were going to get 3 more Assassin's Creed games. We were always going to get 3 more Like a Dragon games as well, in all likelihood. Those are 2 very successful and popular franchises that have been long running and will probably continue well into the future. So it's not a huge surprise. I don't know. I haven't looked into either of them because ultimately I would rather learn about them when they're close to release.
Yeah.
And I do have an element of control over that, in that I have not gone and looked it up myself. But I don't really mind as much knowing that, hey, this popular franchise is getting 3 games, 3 more games, here they are, as opposed to, as I said, like a Halo or Uncharted 5. It's coming in 2027. Like I don't want to know about those games this far out. As long as the first game in the next 3 games is out within the next couple of years, that's still okay. It's weird and it is silly, and they only really serve to do themselves a disservice as much as anything else. But I think what we were talking about before in terms of waiting a really, really long time for any game to be released, I'd prefer to know, about 3 more games as long as one's coming out sooner.
Yeah, just tide you
I think
over
you're
while
right,
you wait for the second and third. Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah.
Well, it, like you say, Ben, it was a bit weird of them to do that, to announce that in the news that those games are coming out.
Bit strange.
Yeah.
Peculiar, maybe.
Like weird news.
Weird news. It's weird news time for some weird video game news. Remember, you can submit weird video game news to us on social media by replying or commenting underneath the post that goes out every single week. And in addition to that, you can become a podcast producer and get a shout out right here by going to patreon.com/Team TripleJump and supporting it at a certain tier. Peter, start us off.
Thank you too. Nathan.
GY Goliath.
Sean Legg.
Walco.
Robin Wardle.
Ellie Nicholas.
Erica Hutchinson.
Melody Elbonet.
Katie Garrett-Jarrett.
And Gabrielle Philippink.
And Jono Parkin.
And Jono Parkin.
Thank
Wonderful.
you guys so much for
Thank
supporting
you,
us.
Patreon podcast producers. What you got, Peter?
I've got some weird news that was sent in by Mindsweeper on Twitter at Harrison Clemen6, like Clement, but with a 6 instead of the T, who sent a link to a Kotaku article. GameStop Stonk Bros are so mad about the Netflix doc trailer, they're rallying to unsub.
Oh, no.
I hated that entire headline. That was horrible.
Yeah? What, just the
like,
topic or the wording of it?
The way that they've worded it.
Okay. After taking umbrage with a new trailer, some are even suggesting they all mass unsubscribe. This is written by Zach Zviesen on Kotaku, as I say. Back in January of 2021, GameStop's stonk price exploded as Reddit trolls went to war with old school investors after the latter bet on the company failing. Reddit et al. Called their bluff, and, well, it's now the stuff of documentary films. Speaking of, Netflix just released a new trailer for its upcoming documentary about the wild Game Stonks saga, and it's made some of the trollish Redditors who were involved in all this very mad. So mad, they're threatening to cancel their streaming subscriptions. Let's rewind quick to briefly explain what the hell happened back in January 2021. They then don't explain it very briefly. It's several paragraphs of filler.
Did we talk about? We must have touched on it at the time.
We've got to have, touched on it.
I can't remember.
Basically, a bunch of Redditor stock investors invested heavily, or bought a lot of GameStop.
Did they
stocks.
short it? Was that it?
I think shorting is something to do with it. Yeah, and in doing so, because on paper, there's suddenly a lot of interest in GameStop, the stock price goes up and up and up, and then because the stock price is going up, or the value, people are buying, thinking it's going up in value. I'll sell it in a bit, and so it just sort of snowballs. I think there's even some term hyper something. It's a hyper something thing. Anyway, so they kind of artificially inflated the value, and it caused all sorts of chaos on the stock market. Boy, the stock bros and Redditors really hate it. Sorry, I've skipped. The trailer is what we're talking about now. We now have this trailer for the upcoming Eat the Rich, the GameStop saga.
Is that the name of it?
Apparently.
Fantastic.
Boy, the stock bros and Redditors really, really hate it. Over on r/superstonk, the main GameStop stock theory crafting subreddit, yes, that's a real thing, you can find numerous highly upvoted and popular posts declaring that the doc is a, quote, bad portrayal of retail investors, with many imploring all who'll listen to cancel their Netflix accounts in retaliation. Stonk bros are mad at the doc for a few different reasons, but the two big things that keep coming up are the supposed lack of input from investors on r/superstonk and r/Wall Street Bets, and because of the final line of the trailer, spoken by journalist Taylor Lorenz. The trailer ends with her seemingly poking fun at the Redditors who set out to fight the GameStop short sellers, saying, YOLO, let's destroy the economy. That line seems to have really angered a particular group of Reddit investors. There's now a quote that says, I'm ready to cancel Netflix anyways. YOLO lady gave me a reason. Slater Netflix, said one user on r/superstonk.
Slater. Is that
Slater.
A portmanteau of
See you later, I guess.
Wow. They're so cool. I find that almost cringier than...
Yeah. YOLO, let's destroy the economy.
Which does sound like it comes from the new Saints Row.
Cancel Netflix and use that money to buy GME stock? ? Replied another. Of course, very few have shared images or other evidence proving that they have cancelled their subscriptions or that they even had one to begin with.
Well, hey, if they cancel it, they might be able to buy a house.
Yeah, that's right. The article continues, but that is the long and short of it. There you go.
Wonderful. Thank you, Peter.
Stonk bros are mad.
Stonk bros. Classic stonk bros there.
I have some news. It comes from Josh Lees. It's from Nintendo Live. Random! Nintendo confirms how to pronounce Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, it's tears, not tears, or tears, not tears. Let's find out, shall we?
Let's.
Well, this was written by Ollie Reynolds. Well, thank goodness that's over with. Since the reveal of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at the most recent Nintendo Direct presentation, some fans have been feverishly debating how to pronounce the new title. Is it tears as in crying or tears as in ripping? Now, this writer had absolutely no doubt about the pronunciation, just ask anyone, but Nintendo has now confirmed for definite, just in case you're still not 100% on the matter. Oh, there's the full stop there. The news comes via Eurogamer, and yes, as most of us suspected, the pronunciation is tears, as in crying tears, much like the tears you're no doubt shedding having to read yet another article on the ruddy title. Grumble. So there you go. End of discussion. Move on, and thank you very much.
Brilliant.
It's
Random.
Tears, not tears.
It's Tears of the Kingdom.
Not tears of
We
the
need
kingdom.
Fraser to put out a social media post saying Tears of the Kingdom is pronounced Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, without saying as in crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Yeah, we should do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
But
That's
to
my
be
sense.
fair, like it was a justified thing because the whole thing was like a bunch of islands floating around, like in the trailer.
Yeah, I
So you
suppose you
could say
make a
like,
case.
hey, it was the kingdom's been torn apart.
Ted.
Tiered.
So, I mean, it definitely was tears, but still.
Did Nintendo really have to do a statement? Because was it surely the title was announced in some other languages as well at the time, or was it not? Was it only announced in English?
No, it must have been announced in other languages as well. It
What
might have
if-
been that they just.
What if they came out and just like did the most unhinged pronunciation? Like neither. Just
Tios.
Yes.
Yes.
T-arse. Te-arse.
What was that game a little while ago that was that had the word like arse in it or something? There was a game that came out that we did a quipscope or something on, and it was
Oh, it had arse in it.
yeah, it was like
Arceus?
Arceus.
Yeah,
Arceus.
Pokemon
Legends.
Legends. Arceus.
Yeah.
Well, I've got weird news. This, at least on Twitter, came from Samuel Benson and Connor Bennett. It is from Pure Xbox, part of the same family as Nintendo Life, which means random. Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream appears in Xbox Game Pass library.
Oh, I saw this.
It's written by Ben Kerry, not Ben Jerry. Okay, this isn't something we thought we'd see today, but here we are. A Reddit user spotted Ben and Jerry's appearing as an Xbox Game Pass title. Yes, the ice cream brand. The app wasn't titled as such, but all the media related to Ben and Jerry's ice cream. After coming across the post, we thought we'd best check for ourselves, and lo and behold, it's there in our Game Pass library. There it is. Just Ben and
It's quite
Jerry's
funny.
just sat there underneath Wolfenstein and next to Yakuza 0. In reality, the game is some form of test product, with users commenting that when downloaded, it's a basic touchscreen game. No, we have no idea how professional shots of Ben and Jerry's ice cream tubs appeared to advertise an Xbox game, but hey ho, there it is. This isn't the first blah blah blah. Have you ever blah blah blah? There we are. That is the story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending that in.
Thank you
Ben
very
and Jerry's
much.
now on Game Pass.
Have you ever eaten Ben and Jerry's?
Let us know your favorite flavor in the comments below. Yeah. There we are. That's weird news. On to the next question.
Question 3 comes from Conroy Milk, who says, You could make some Conroy Ben and Jerry's with Conroy
could.
Milk.
Awesome.
Conroy cheese.
Or milk beef.
Yeah. Not milk beef.
Not milk beef.
That's coming up in main menu later. Greetings, Bap. I've recently been thinking about difficulty settings in video games and how harder difficulties in games, particularly FPS and other shooter games, usually boil down to you leading less damage. Sorry, that's my fault. Dealing less damage, enemies dealing more damage, and there being less resources or checkpoints available, all of which make these games less engaging and create a sense of artificial difficulty. Are there any changes you would make to difficulty settings so that the game remains fun without becoming a grind or overcomplicated? Cheers, Conroy Milk.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Milk.
Mr. Milk.
Thank you, Mr. Milk.
Why are you laughing? That's his name.
It is his name. Yeah. I like adaptive difficulty, or DDA, which is dynamic difficulty adjustment. That was a phrase coined by Crash Bandicoot, I believe.
By
himself.
me, Peter Austin.
Yes. So it's featured, partly I like it because it's featured in a couple of games that are very close to my heart. Spyro 3, my least favorite of the trilogy, had, if you were doing very well, if you'd been collecting all of the eggs as you go and all the treasure and you'd not died very much, the game would spawn more enemies in certain levels. And it would even change boss attack patterns and things, which is kind of interesting. In Crash Bandicoot, there was adaptive difficulty. The boulder, if you kept dying to the boulder chase, the boulder would just go slower and slower so that you would find it easier, obviously. If you kept dying in the same place, a regular crate would turn into a checkpoint crate, so you get an extra checkpoint. Sometimes you'd spawn with masks if you needed them, just get an extra hit point. And even some slightly more recent games, Resident Evil 4, apparently enemy behavior would change depending on how well you were doing. So I really like that because quite often it's happening just in the background. You don't even know it's going on. And it means that assuming it's working well enough and that it's been, carefully tested, you're probably getting a game that's almost tailored to exactly the level of difficulty you require to have a bit of a challenge, but not too much. I guess the only thing is that if you really want to play a very, very difficult mode, or you really want to play a super easy mode, if that's all happening in the background automatically, then that's not really going to work, is it? If I sit down and I'm like, I just want to like blitz through a run of Spyro 3, but if I'm grabbing every egg as I go, then one of the bosses is apparently notoriously difficult if you've got like 100% of the stuff so far. It's kind of not really been done properly. So, I don't know. And in a way, I'm not even answering the question, because Conroy Milk asks, what kind of specific things could you do to affect difficulty that aren't just stronger enemies or, changes in damage. But, to take some from that list of adaptive difficulty things, I quite like changes in actual AI behavior, boss attack patterns and things like that. If it's possible to make your AI more intelligent or, do different things based on difficulty, I think that's always a good thing. So, those are some ones that I'm a fan of.
Yeah, I think like AI being smarter is definitely one, because that doesn't necessarily feel unfair then, when you're just like, well, I'm just not going to do enough damage right now because I'm just underpowered. That feels like it's like if it's you die, it's your fault, rather than it being like the game's just too hard. So I do think that's a good suggestion. Also, I think that like maybe context is important. Like if you're going to play the game for like a second time, obviously they can't change the story because you're suddenly like underpowered and stuff. But I do think that sometimes when a game is just hard, like there should be some kind of context as to why it's hard. Like, when you lose all your weapons at the beginning of a game, like all the Lara Croft games, but suddenly you're in a plane crash and you got to get all your stuff back. Like that kind of thing is important, because you obviously don't want to go in feeling OP, but you also don't want to go in like, well, I've got a decent sword and like my character is apparently the best warrior in the land.
Yeah.
So why am I getting my ass beat by like the bang average skeleton that I've just bumped into? So definitely feel like context is important to kind of make it more engaging and like, immersive. I also think that sometimes games just don't give you like rewards for playing on difficult. Like if you've defeated a boss on a really hard difficulty level, you should be rewarded like you've defeated a boss on a really hard difficulty level. Obviously this isn't going for all games, because some games do this, but I think that like if you get a better reward, it sets you up in a good stead that then maybe the next boss you see isn't going to be as difficult because you've got good sword from big boss, So it's all about kind of like rewarding the player as well as punishing them for picking a stupid difficulty. But as someone who literally never plays above normal at max, I don't even bother touching, because I'm like, I know I'm going to get frustrated and I just don't want that. So I just stick far away from like bumping difficulty up to hardcore mode or anything. But you, Ben, must have had to play on hard sometimes to get platinums.
I have done,
so
and
maybe,
it wasn't fun or enjoyable. It kind of ruined the experience, which is why I agree with Mr. Milk that the harder difficulties are just kind of boring. Like there's got to be more interesting ways other than increase enemy damage, increase enemy hit points, lower player hit points or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it's the way it's always been done, but could we do it more interestingly? I think that we could do it more interestingly. Perhaps maybe changing enemy placement, changing the weaponry of certain enemies so they have slightly more powerful guns, not increasing the power of the guns they always had, but actually just give it, now they have rocket launchers. Have fun dealing with that.
Yeah.
Move items. Add or remove sections of the levels, like in Time Splitters back in the day. If you played on easy, the levels would just end sooner.
Right.
Which could be considered exclusionary for people who are not necessarily looking for a challenge, but there's a way to make like games challenging in a more interesting way rather than just making it hard. Just change things up so that it is more challenging, but in a different way. Like you could be going through the level on easy or a level on easy and there'll be a corridor, or a storage cupboard that's locked. And if you go through it on medium or maybe hard, that storage cupboard will be unlocked and it has items in it that you can get that will help you out. Because yes, it's harder, but it doesn't mean you should have fewer healing items. If anything, it means you should have more healing items because the game could be more twisting and turning. Alternatively, you can just add on to that and screw traditional difficulties altogether and have one standard option like some games do. Like this is the way we want you to play this game, and then have additional options that you unlock after you beat the game, like a randomizer mode. So there are loads of mods for this for all sorts of games, the Soulsborne games in particular. You have no idea what enemy you're going to face that coming around the corner. It could be a boss just in the level wandering around, or add what we would traditionally call a hard mode, which is just you have lower health, you do less damage, and enemies have higher health pools and do more damage, and just have that as an option once you finish the game. Maybe I just think there are so many ways that we could increase the challenge of the game without just labeling them hard.
I think one game that does it quite well is the Borderlands series with their Mayhem mode system, where once you've played the game, you can boost your Mayhem level, which means you get better rewards. And it means that every time you enter a new area, all of the stats are reset. So you have to go in the menu and be like, right, so fire weapons are going to do like 80% less damage. So I need to swap out all my fire weapons, or the enemies will explode when you kill them, so you need to make sure you're far away from them, which I think is really like an interesting way of doing it, because like I say, I hate difficulty levels, but I didn't mind doing the Mayhem mode stuff in Borderlands because I got better stuff, but also like it was more difficult and there was different things I had to think about every time. So that is one way of kind of doing it. And also you can re-roll some of the Mayhem mode stuff as well if it's too hard, which is nice because you can just take it back down to like Mayhem 3, which means you don't get maybe as good of loot, but you still get to experience like the game with, like you say, new bits and pieces. So
and in a way, seeing the difficulty broken down like that, particularly in Borderlands, where it will tell you enemy damage plus 20%, I think just kind of shows how boring difficulty modes are generally. Like they will do precisely this much more damage. Obviously, usually it's hidden from you, but knowing and the other games will show it to you in sort of that much detail, I think only proves that, man, we could be doing stuff a lot more interesting than we are. I think.
Yeah, I like in the Halo games, there are skulls hidden around. Every level has a skull hidden somewhere in it, and if you go and find it, then you then unlock a skull that you can enable on levels. So you're about to go into a campaign mission, you go into the skull options, and they all have different effects, and you just switch them on and off. And I can't think of specific examples. I might be wrong in saying these, but there's stuff like enemies will like just throw grenades all the time, and stuff like that is interesting because if you've got enemies chucking grenades all the time, they might actually be hindering themselves as much as actually, damaging you. If they're knocking them off walls and stuff, in a way, it's just more chaotic rather than like inherently more difficult. Or there's stuff that will affect both you and the enemies. So I think there might be one where it's grenade explosion radius is like doubled. So that's the same for your grenades and the enemy grenades. So things like that do make the game more difficult, and there are like trophies and stuff that you can unlock, I think, for playing with a certain number of skulls on, and the reason you get a trophy is because it does make it more difficult. But it mixes it up as well in having things that affect both you and the enemies. I think that's kind of an interesting way to do it as well.
Well, it's time to move on to
a pretty big discussion.
A big discussion. It's big discussion time for the big podcast discussion, which comes this week courtesy of Cameron Keywood, who says, so the big news is about one of the biggest leaks in video game history and a nightmare for Rockstar Games. Do you think the leaks of GTA 6 had the potential to delay the game by a few years due to work disruption and the limiting of working from home? And what are your overall thoughts on leak culture?
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I've got a whole lot of information here from Video Games Chronicle about this, just in case you weren't aware. This is, I think, pretty much up to date at the time of recording. There's been a few twists and turns. So we'll start at the beginning, which was, I think, over the last weekend is when this was all kicking off. Maybe Sunday or Monday.
I think it was,
something like that.
yeah.
Over 90 alleged videos from a development build of Grand Theft Auto 6 have been leaked onto social media. First posted to the GTA forums by user TepoTuber Hacker, the footage includes...
I thought it's Teapot, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it might be Teapot Uber Hacker. This is the importance of Camel Case, everyone. It could be TepoTuber Hacker. Who knows?
He signed something as Teapot later on. So
Teapot Uber Hacker. The footage includes open-world gameplay, which is alleged to be from GTA 6, and they appear to be legitimate. It's claimed by the leaker that the videos were downloaded from Slack. If legitimate, the leaked build confirms the previous reporting that the game would take place in Vice City. A YouTube video of the leaked build shows a character running out of a store during a shootout with the police. This is one of the longest pieces of footage to come from this leak, as most of them are only a few seconds long. Another YouTube video shows the female character walking through a strip club, which is densely packed with NPCs. Footage of a character walking through a Vice City metro train has also been posted, adding to the evidence that the game will take place in the Miami-inspired location. One clip posted to Twitter appears to show how the shooting mechanics in the game will work while driving in the game. Another shows off the conversation system, as well as robbing a fast food store. The user who posted the initial leak on the GTA forums also claims to have the source code of GTA 6 and GTA 5 and is threatening to publish it in full. They have posted snippets and screenshots, but VGC can't verify the legitimacy of their claims. They also claim to have a test build of a game, it says, that they could release should they desire. So that was the initial reporting. Then, now multiple videos have been removed at the request of Take-Two, seemingly confirming the legitimacy of the substantial leak. These videos are largely hosted on YouTube, with the Twitter versions of the leaks remaining on the platform. Then, the forum poster wrote, "Okay, so this has gone unexpectedly viral. Woke up to 3,000 Telegram DMs. What is that? Is that? Is he just saying?
It's like WhatsApp, but if you don't want to use WhatsApp.
Telegram.
Yeah.
If you're a Teapot hacker.
Yeah.
If you're TepoTuber Hacker.
Just a messaging app.
Cool. If you're an employee of Rockstar or Take-Two and you're trying to contact me, send me a message containing a string of numbers on Telegram, or you can email me at email address from your corporate email address. I will try to read all of these replies soon. I am looking to negotiate a deal." Then, Rockstar responded, "We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services, nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you all in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, that truly exceeds your expectations. We will update everyone again soon, and of course, we'll properly introduce you to this next game when it is ready. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support through this situation." And finally, Uber recently suffered a data breach and said it believes that its attacker or attackers are affiliated with a hacking group called Lapsus $, which has been increasingly active over the last year. The hacking collective, which may be based in South America, is thought to be responsible for a series of cyber attacks against major technology companies, including Nvidia, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Samsung, and Vodafone, and this GTA leak as well.
Wasn't 2K also hacked this week?
Yeah,
everyone had to change their password.
I think so. GTA, 2K was also, it was like their, just sort of like your 2K account, your Rockstar account or something. So go change your password.
Been a busy week.
I don't know if that's related to this or if it's something else, but go change the password. So that is where we are currently. This was huge. I don't know if you guys got to see any of those videos that went out.
I saw a few of them on the first Reddit post that went out, like on Saturday or whatever.
I do sort of hate leak culture, as Cameron asks. That's part of the question. Do you hate leaks? And I do, but because I'm not so kind of devoted to GTA, I didn't mind. It's big news and I knew we'd be covering it, so I did watch that. But ordinarily, when stuff gets leaked like that, if it's something that I'm interested in, I actively don't want to see it. Like, why would you? That's part of the question for later on, I think. But I mean, the initial reaction to all this was, this is like devastating to Rockstar and it's going to be terrible for the game and stuff. And of course, it's not good news. I admit that, but my opinion might be partially colored by an article I saw on The Ringer that was saying, this isn't as terrible as it seems to be. The people most affected by this are the employees, I think, who have been working really hard on something and, will have been looking forward to the moment where they could finally reveal something in its, finished form. And it's been leaked ahead of time. And unfortunately, there's been all that rubbish discourse online, terrible takes from people. Have you seen all these things where people saying
this game looks rubbish, this is definitely what it's going to look like when it comes out?
If you understand video game development, you would know that visuals are the first thing that is done, and everything for the next year will just be mission coding and something
One
or
of
other.
the things that I love about the only thing that's good that's come out of this is a bunch of other companies being when we first released our game, this is what it looked like, and it's Sea of Thieves, and they've got jelly bean people with maps and stuff, and I was that's nice of them to be you're all stupid and wrong.
I liked that solidarity. There were loads of devs,
a real outpouring of support from all across the industry.
Here was our game at this stage. Look how the visuals are finished, aren't they? So it's must be infuriating being someone who's working really hard on something and knows that eventually it will be this, I think we all know it's going to be a pretty incredible game, as the previous Grand Theft Auto was. And to see it released in that state, and then on top of that, see a load of reactions from people who don't understand, saying, why does this look so rubbish? I saw a good tweet that said, people have bad takes, saying, but people have bad takes because they're coming out with, why does this unfinished game look so unfinished, or something, which is exactly the point. But in terms of whether what has actually been revealed about the game is going to in some way affect the course of the development, I think that's not entirely, I don't think that's particularly likely. I've seen articles or people on Twitter again saying, oh no, they're now going to they're going to feel they have to change all these key points because it's been revealed. Well, for a start, a lot of stuff that was confirmed by the leaks we already knew about from people like Jason Schreier, the fact that it's set in Vice City, the Latina playable character, those kind of
great,
things.
By the way, she looks great.
Yeah, multiple protagonists, details like that were already out there as kind of maybe unsubstantiated rumors, or maybe believable little bits of information, but from reliable sources like Jason Schreier. So things like that being out there means that there wasn't actually a whole lot to take away from what was revealed. The bigger issue is whether the source code is actually out there. I'll pass over to you guys now. I've got more to say, but
I think the main I also hate leak culture. I think it's just stupid. They'll release a game when it's ready. They're not going to bring it out any closer to release just because
it's not going to speed it up.
You've said, oh well, I've actually found the source code of your game, so you got to release it now. It's not going to be ready any quicker because it's not. That's just not how it works. I think the general consensus from most of the gamers, the bossaroos out there, was that we didn't want a repeat of Half-Life 2. Mm-hmm. We didn't quite fancy having to. Well, we obviously don't know how long it's going to take for GTA 6 to be released anyway, but we now don't want to have to wait an extra few years while they scrap everything they've got or restart a bunch of stuff, especially if the source code gets leaked, because that's going to be terrible. And this guy is a tosser. I think threatening to leak a source code is just ridiculous. All the things I've read about him is the fact that or her or them is that they were paid $100,000 by someone to get this stuff, and then are now just holding that money and the footage hostage, trying to get more money from various people. They're holding it to ransom, so it's just stupid. But I think that the whole thing it's just frustrating, as a casual / semi-professional gamer, that we see this happening and we can't do anything about it. We're well, it's happening now, it's all gone out there, we can avoid the footage, but people have already seen it. Rockstar have obviously got to deal with that now. I'm glad that Rockstar have said that it's not going to stop them from producing the game. And like I say, hopefully these clips and stuff aren't going to be enough to stop them from making the game that they're currently making and make them have to start again. But obviously we never know what's going on behind the scenes at Rockstar. So we don't know if they've gone, right, start again, everyone, scrap what you've been working on. So we can only obviously wait and see what they do. And so hopefully it won't be too long of a wait to find out more information about it. But it is a shame because, like we always say, we don't want to hear about games until they're ready and like we've got a kind of horizon of like when's going to happen. So it's a shame that they've not even had the chance to kind of talk about their own game yet. It's just been done for them, which is a shame. So
in spite of the very, very bad takes, it would be I am hopeful that most people can exercise common sense in that this is a leak and this game is still years away, because it's leaks like this, albeit without footage, that killed The Last of Us Part 2's momentum and still haunts it to this day. That really toxic reputation, that toxic cloud that surrounds The Last of Us still came from leaks originally. It's just not helpful to any kind of discourse. And I mean, the internet it always finds new ways to surprise me about how awful it can be. But I am hopeful that people will be sensible and will not use this to judge the game, because it's not finished. It's not meant to be seen yet. So there we are. In terms of will the game be delayed? I mean, again, it depends on whether the source code is recovered or what happens there, or if work has to be scrapped. But they've already slowed development due to working on their alleged toxic workplace culture, as well as the crackdown on and refocus on avoiding crunch. So we were already probably going to be, as it says in the report there, at least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years away from maybe even seeing anything, let alone playing it. So honest answer is I don't know. I hope not, but the story is still developing. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes out in the coming days. Yeah,
I mean, Rockstar's statement, they don't say outright this will not affect the duration, but there's something in the wording there that you've got the quote, haven't you, Ben?
I have. I'll find it for you.
They sort of say it's not going to.
At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects.
Yeah, so that sounds optimistic on their part. It just, if the source code is actually out there, and I suppose the guy wouldn't necessarily say, I've got the source code if he didn't. And if he's apparently been showing screenshots and stuff, then maybe he does have something. Then that is the only thing that could maybe cause issues, because if, in terms of multiplayer cheating, for example, if you've got source code that is that underpins multiplayer stuff, then that can't be out there. You do have to just kind of rewrite that kind of thing. But certainly in terms of reception and sales, Half-Life 2 wasn't negatively affected ultimately when the same thing happened there. So fingers crossed, when this game does eventually come out, God knows when that will be, it will likely not be affected in terms of its actual performance by these leaks.
Yeah.
Even though people at the moment are saying, oh, looks rubbish. Not everyone is saying that, of course, but people who don't really understand what they're talking about. And the stocks bounced back. Like the stocks took a dip of it was 6%, or maybe it was 0.6%. I don't know. But anyway, they came back by the end of the day. So I think the market is not being quite as pessimistic as perhaps some of the players are.
I like to think that this is a bump in the road and it'll be resolved. And if they have a rough idea of where this or who this person is or where they're based, they're working with Uber and the FBI apparently. So we'll see.
I saw one thing
what comes of it
that said. So although you said was it South American, the sort of the community of hackers?
That's what they think.
I saw a separate thing And this, I suppose this could also be true, that it might be a 16-year-old
Oh, he was arrested earlier this
guy
year.
in the UK.
Yeah, that guy, I believe, this may have been part of the same article actually, but that guy based in Oxford
Right.
was arrested earlier this year, I believe, citation needed, who may have been involved in various cyber crimes and was
Okay.
sitting on like tens of millions of pounds
Wow.
from his ill-gotten gains. But I don't know if he's affiliated with Lapsus, $sign. I have no idea. I don't understand how any of this works, but it sucks. And hopefully it doesn't delay GTA 6 beyond its presumably quite distant release date anyway.
Or set back the workplace culture as well. Because
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
there
Yeah,
is
people
talk
have to
of-
work double hard.
Yeah, and there is talk of limiting working from home now again, because I mean Slack you could have in office as well as from home. So if Slack is the issue, then it doesn't necessarily avoid that by saying, well, you all have to come in now.
Yeah.
You'll still be using Slack. But yeah, there's talk of just being able to have tighter security on stuff by having everyone
There's
in-
going to be like
on
a
site.
memo that was like, no one sends anything over Slack anymore. If you
Yeah.
want to send something, you walk to their house and you deliver it yourself.
Yeah.
Do not
With
go.
an armed guard.
It's like when they told everyone like you should never use USBs. Like when the place I used to work, they were like, you never use a USB. Use everything in the cloud, because if you lose that USB, everything is out in the open. And I was like, okay, well, cool. What about an SD card? Does that count?
I had to put
Yes.
my phone in a drawer every day at work when I worked for Splash Damage. I wasn't allowed in.
Right.
And all the blinds were permanently closed as well.
Oh, wow.
No natural sunlight. I had a bonsai tree that actually survived that entire period.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I got it in direct sunlight and it died. So I don't know what that means.
The company my dad works for is a German company, and you're not allowed to use, I think it's WhatsApp on a work phone, because apparently the Germans have they're not sure about the security of WhatsApp. And he's also not allowed to plug any USB devices into his work laptop, because they might have like spyware on them.
Yeah.
It's the same with the NHS as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the same rules for that, confidentiality reasons and stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's the big discussion. Let us know what you think. Did you see the footage? Do you think that the graphics are finished first before anything else? Slap yourself in the face.
You got brain cell in there?
No. Let us know what you think, of course, in the comments below. And thank you so much for listening. Peter's going to tell you where you can get involved around the internet.
We put all of our content out on youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. You can find our videos and live streams on both of those in and at both of those places. When we're streaming on both of those sites, we are modded by Lord Brotovich, Trowling Badger, and Mr. Black. And if you've got Amazon Prime, part of the bundle and the deal there is that you get a Twitch sub. You might not know that, but you can spend that on us. It won't cost you anything extra. You just get a Twitch sub with it. So do that if you like. Twitter.com and Facebook.com/Team TripleJump for video and live stream announcements, legacy video content, Twitch stream highlights of the week, all sorts of fun things by Fraser. Oh, bits of news as well go out there as well. So have a look. Thank you, Fraser, for looking after that, and for looking after TikTok.com/@Team TripleJump, where we do our TikToks. And finally, from me, we've got patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Lots of different rewards available there, including asking questions on the podcast, being a podcast producer, the other podcast that goes out just to patrons, and loads of other things as well. So have a look.
We have a website. It's triplej.mup. That's triplej.mp. It spells jump and it's very clever. If you want to join our Discord, you can go to triplej.mup/Discord and hang out with a wonderful community. On Discord, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And if I tell you to do something, bloody well do it. If you want to listen to the podcast in its audio forms, why not go to triplej.mup/podcast. If you want to check out one of our live stream VODs, if you've missed one of the ones we've done this week, why not go to triplej.mup/VODs. And if you want to book a cameo from any of us or James Jenkins, you can go to triplej.mup/cameo. And if you want to buy some sick and cool merch, not this, not available right now. So you can't have those.
Not that.
Not that either. No. You can go to triplejumpshop.com and make sure you're following @TripleJumpShop on Twitter for the latest merch announcements, which may be coming sooner than you think.
Very soon. We're working on it. Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton. Myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday being the joint stream.
Blaze it.
On
Blaze it.
YouTube. Thank you. On YouTube, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday being solo streams on Twitch. Slightly different this week. No joint stream because there was a bank holiday, so Peter's subbing in. Or subbed in, sorry, for the Thursday joint stream. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly, Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. The podcast is every Saturday, and we do shows all the bloody time. Come check them out. Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. This week, we've got the After Dark for people who support us on Patreon at a certain tier. You get access to the After Dark podcast. Hear us talk about all those salacious things that we're not allowed to talk about here, including swear words. Ashton's allowed to swear there, and it's fine.
She's allowed to swear here, apparently, as well.
Yeah,
I
she
did
just do whatever
one
she
by
bloody wants. She just cares so much
accident.
about trying, which we didn't know. Now we do.
Yeah.
Peter, there's some sort of sponsored list.
There is. It's all about Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. There's been some new footage that we have got access to. Oh,
Legitimately.
Legitimately, yeah,
We've not
we've not
hacked in.
Ashton just whispered the word exclusive. I don't know if it's exclusive.
It's exclusive among those who signed on for this brand deal.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So it will all at the same time, a few different places will be revealing collectively exclusive footage.
Yes.
But it's not
Yeah.
exclusive just to
Just to
TripleJump.
us, no.
But yes, we are doing 10 things you need to know about Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope based on partly all this new footage that you can see within the video edit itself.
Number 10 is Ashton's really excited for it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's not number 10.
We're hiring. It's finally time. A day that I think we were all a little bit concerned about, but we are hiring a full-time staff writer to join our team to work with all of us, myself and Kat in particular, writing ranked scripts. Big shoes to fill, obviously, but we know there's some extremely talented people out there. So throw your hat in the ring, give it a go. TripleJU.mp, probably /careers, but if not, just scroll to the bottom of the homepage and there's a careers little link you can press.
Or check it out on Twitter or Facebook if you can't.
Yeah,
find
Twitter
it.
or Facebook. There's posts about it there as well. The criteria that we're looking for, various little tidbits that we need you to write just to see if you're up to snuff. And you could work remotely anywhere in the world, or you could work out of the office with us. Totally up to you. So please do go and check that out and apply now. I believe the listing is open for about a month, so you've got time, but don't delay. Get on it, and you won't hear back until after the deadline, okay? So don't chase it up between now and the
Don't
deadline.
Buy a cat or a computer just because you think you've not got it for now. Just maybe wait. I mean, if you're thinking about getting a cat anyway,
Although, is it a remote position?
It can be remote.
It can
But
be
I'm just
You
saying,
can
don't
decide.
buy a coping cat. If you were thinking
coping cat.
I definitely haven't got it and it's only been a week, you maybe give it a few weeks before you buy a cat.
Yeah, also give it a week the other side of the deadline for us to check through all the
Yeah.
submissions as well. You know, it's gonna take us some time. But there we are. Go apply if you're interested. We want to hear from you. Just enough time, Peter, to talk about this week. Oh, one more
Just
thing.
enough time for me to say to you that there's also a Quipscope, right?
Of
Probably.
course,
It's
yes.
not actually been recorded yet.
It's very
but it
true.
Should be out.
Yes, there's a Quipscope that's out on this podcast feed, both the audio version on the podcast feed and the video version on the YouTube channel. I believe
It's Ben's feet.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
It's my shoelaces. Sorry, I'm dangling my feet around. What is it called? It's called
Shovel Knight Dig.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight Dig, I believe, is what it's called. James has been playing that. It's the new sort of roguelite spin-off
Thing.
of
Roguish.
Shovel Knight. Don't know a huge amount about it because we haven't recorded it yet. We're just about to. But if you want to learn more, go check out the Quipscope now.
Yeah.
That is everything. Peter, do you have the sponsor?
Do you want to be a dog?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to do some fetch quests?
Yeah.
Woof.
GTA sticks coming. Depends if the source code has been leaked. It might take longer.
Woof.
You can buy the source code online for £100,000 of Bitcoin or dollars or something.
Doge coins if you fancy.
Dogecoins.
Dogecoins. Yeah,
Just
that's the one.
contact Mr. Teapot Man.
Yes.
Tipo tuber.
Tuba. All right, we're going to go now. Thank you so much for listening /watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.